Good evening, church family. Thank you for your time this evening as we continue this series of teaching videos looking at how we can become a church of 50 house churches and live into the vision that we believe God has placed on our hearts and in our lives for this season of in-between, while it's unsafe for us to gather in person for worship, but we can continue to be the church. Over the last couple of days, you've heard what a house church is and what some foundations are for forming your house church. Tonight, we're going to talk about how to be a house church. We're going to go through a checklist of what it actually means Sunday by Sunday to be a house church. As you may have gathered from the teaching video about what a house church is, it will involve gathering in worship, growing together, and going to be the church. Let's spend a little time talking about what it means to gather in worship as a house church. What we mean by that is we expect you to gather together, whether that's in a backyard, on a driveway, or over Zoom or another electronic platform. We hope and pray that you will gather in community for the act of worship. Part of gathering for worship involves coming together, but then setting your space. You've heard us say over and over again at the beginning of worship that we invite you to claim the space where you are as holy. That may involve setting an altar table, lighting a candle, placing a cross at the center of your space. Whatever that means for you, we invite you to claim that space as holy. We also invite you to claim the relational space of your house church as holy as well. As you begin your time together, we invite you to remember the covenant that has brought you together, the promises you've made to each other as you begin and gather together. So we gather together, we set the space, and then we just participate in worship. We invite you to stream worship in whichever manner makes the most sense for your house church. If you got a TV on the back porch, throw it up on the TV. If everybody needs to have their own device, everybody have their own device. But we invite you to participate in worship so that when we read our scriptures, we pull our Bibles out and we read our scriptures. When we sing together. When we pray together. When our kids come for kids' time, we participate and invite our kids to gather together. All of this is possible either in person, in our backyards, or in our driveways, or over Zoom. So being a house church involves coming together, gathering to worship. Next, we're going to invite you to grow together. And by growing together, what we mean is that this journey of Christian growth and discipleship, becoming deeply committed disciples of Jesus, is not something that we do very well on our own. We need each other. We need the community of the saints to walk through this with us. And as you gather as a house church, you will be surrounded by a community of saints. People on their journey with Christ, each at their own place and at their own step. So as we invite you to grow together, we invite you to begin your gathering by praying with and for each other. Prayer unites us as one with God and with each other. So we begin in prayer. We also invite you to share following worship. We will design and have designed our worship services to be between 40 and 45 minutes during this season of House Church, giving you 15 minutes back that we normally keep when you're here in the sanctuary. But we're giving you that 15 minutes back with a purpose. We want you to use that time as you are gathered in community to grow together. As we talk about sharing with each other after worship, primarily we're going to ask you to answer one question every week. On a scale of 1 to 10, how is it with your soul? And if you're feeling like your conversation is just ready to dive deeper, or you just want to take on something extra, ask yourselves a series of other questions. Ask yourself bonus questions of, where have I experienced God this week? How is God working in my life? What does God want me to do? And then what will I want to do about it? In this season, this sharing of our soul with each other deeply matters. So when we invite us to grow together, we grow through prayer, we grow through sharing. And we also grow by noticing who is missing. As you look around at your house church, we invite you to have a knack for noticing. Because this journey that we go on is one that we go on in community, we have to be there with and for each other. If you begin to notice that that neighbor you invited weeks ago is not there, follow up. If somebody who was there for the first 2 or 3 or 4 weeks of your house church has seemingly disappeared, follow up. Care for each other through your knack of noticing. Finally, we're going to invite you to go be the church. You'll hear more about this in upcoming videos, but for each and every Sunday morning, our invitation is that you simply close your gathering by sending each other forth with a blessing and with a reminder of the mission that God has given to you. In the church world, we call this a benediction, a sending forth, a blessing for the journey. We will close worship with one, but we invite you to send your house church out with one as well. Church, thank you so much for your time this evening. Thank you for your willingness to live into this vision that God has given us, to be a church of 50 house churches. As we gather in worship, grow together, and go to be the church. Grace and peace. See you later.